Hmm. All right. So this is gonna be a bit of a different video, um, and all that I'm gonna do is take this raw video that I'm about to shoot. It's not even it's not even gonna go into Premiere Pro. I'm just gonna upload it. The reason behind that is that I want to tell my story about why I'm doing what I'm doing, and yeah, just get into the reasons behind all of that. And I'm just so excited to share this with you, whether you know me personally or not. I just want to put my story out there and maybe inspire others to chase your dreams and all of that. So I'm just going to get right into it. I think this story that I want to tell you today kind of starts when I graduate high school. That's pretty much when life begins. I mean, for many people, it's kind of when life begins. But right after high school, I went to the military in Finland. I did my military service for 6 months, and it was a good experience. It was fun. I won't get too deep into it. But what is important about that time of my life is that that's when I had my first business idea. I think it was from a YouTube video, and I have some tea as well. It's very cozy. It's quite late in the evening. But yeah, the business idea. I saw this YouTube video about this guy who was growing microgreens, which are like sprouts, like these little plants that you can eat and stuff. And he was just growing them in his garage or something and making a couple $1,000 a week. And I was like, that sounds super easy. I want to try it out. So I got into it and I was just like, how are people doing this? And I guess all of us watch these Alex Hormozzi videos and like we see these people, Iman Gadzhi, making business online, making money online. And I was like, I want to make money somehow. I just want to do it myself because I've always been driven by this need for freedom and being able to work on my own terms, on my own time, and from where I want. That's something that really defines me and is important to me. And I thought that that was a way to do it, or like for me, being a business founder is how I achieved that. But back then, it was more just like of motivated by wanting to learn in a way. Like I was so curious about how businesses work and how well yeah how to run a business, how do you get clients, how do you do a profit loss statement, how do you file your taxes. I had no idea about anything. And yeah, that was, when was that, about 4 years ago by now, 5 years maybe. um, so yeah, where are we next? I have a single paper of notes, just one major event linking to another. That's what I'll walk through. But at the same time, I want to go on to a deeper level as well, talking about like the why behind everything. Um, but yeah, let's just move on with the story. So eventually, I get back from the military, and this plan is in my head for this business. But I remember I got back like right around New Year's. I was back home, and I had a month before I went on an interrail trip for all of February. And I had this single month with absolutely nothing. I wasn't a student. I wasn't in high school anymore. I didn't have to be in the military, and I had that freedom that I wanted so badly. I was like, wow, what am I gonna do now? And so I set a challenge for myself because I was working at McDonald's on Saturdays during high school, during the last grade of high school. And I thought to myself, I could have gone back to that same McDonald's and they would have hired me on the spot to work full time there. And so I checked how much does someone from, or how much does a McDonald's worker make? And it was right around, I think, 1,400 euros net back then. And I said, all right, challenge. I'm going to challenge myself. I want that freedom of being able to work when I want. Um, and I want to set a goal for myself to make as much money as I would have if I would have gone back to McDonald's. So I remember I sat down and started brainstorming. What are the different things I'm good at? What can I do to make that money? And I thought about all the drop shipping and trading and whatever, but eventually I discovered the more or less most efficient ways to get that money short term in a month was to start working at Fedora, which means I was delivering food on my bike. And I thought, I mean, in a way, I was more flexible. I got to decide when I worked. And the harder I worked, the more money I could make because I was delivering more orders. So in a way, I had some amount of flexibility and freedom, but that was not going to get me rich in any way. And I realized that way too late because I continued that job for about a year, I would say. Just whenever I wanted to, I would take up a shift, hop on my bike, and just start delivering food for a couple euros here and there. Um, but during this month, something really interesting happened too. I realized that I really liked using Notion, and I realized that I can help other people set it up and use it as well. So I posted myself up on Upwork and Fiverr, and I was like, "Hey, I'm a Notion guy. You can hire me for $20 an hour, and I'll build you Notion systems." And that's when it all started. That was almost 4 years ago by now, in early 2023. Sorry, that was almost 3 years ago by now. Yeah, when I just started building systems in Notion, and that was kind of like the start of all of this that we're getting towards now. So what are we on? 6 minutes. All right, got to make sure that it's not too long. It's gonna be a yap session here, but I don't want to take too much of your time. So yeah, that's when I started using Notion first, and when I started seeing money from an online activity slash business for the first time, and I was like, wow, okay. And all the while, so I go on the Interrail, I come back home, I'm doing these Notion things, and I actually met someone on that Interrail trip as well, my ex, which it was not a healthy relationship, and I think it took a lot of energy and motivation and just life out of me. So for most of 2023, I was just kind of stagnant. We were trying to set up that microgreens business. We eventually got up to 3 clients, but then they all canceled on us. And I think in, was it early 2024, we must have shut it down. And we also like had breaks in between and stuff. So it was a very on and off. I think in total, we must have made about 500 euros of revenue after over a year of on and off operations. So it was absolutely not worth it. But the amount of knowledge I gained from doing that is absolutely insane. Like I would highly recommend you if you are planning on founding a business and you have an idea, just do it. Because even if it doesn't work, the amount of knowledge I got from founding that business is like worth far exceeds the loss that we ended up making, which was a couple hundred euros. So yeah, if you want to learn how to make a business, just do it. Don't care about the money, because the learnings are so much more valuable than whatever money you might lose. Um, so yeah, then we left that, and I left my relationship as well. We're like entering like early 2024 now. So I kind of got out of that rut, and at that time, like around, well, this must have been still in 2023, I got into university as well. It was kind of like my plan A. I only applied for that one degree, and I didn't even realize how hard it was to get in. They have like a 7% acceptance rate, which is like right on par with Harvard. So yeah, I got into the program though, into the business program. And so I started studying, learning more about business just because that's what interested me. That's what I wanted to do. And so yeah, fast forward to 2024. My best friend Gopi, he said, let's do a challenge. Like we need to challenge ourselves, get some accountability. And then we decided we're going to try to hit 100,000 euros of revenue in a year. And that's what we did. So 2024 was really just defined by that challenge. Everything I did was for that goal of 100K. It was kind of an obsession, but I loved it. It was like everything that I spent my time on was just dedicated to trying to reach this goal. So unfortunately, I spent the first half of the year just still working for Foodora, thinking that delivering food will get me to that goal. Which, if I could go back right now, I would sit my 2024 self down and tell him, please quit Foodora before the challenge even starts and just start with online businesses, start scaling your agency. Because at that point, I was still doing the freelancing for Notion, but I was just a freelancer. And it wasn't until about November of last year, which is a bit over a year ago now, that I realized I'm making decent money from the freelancing. Um, let's make it an agency. And then my best friend Josue, he was getting into automation as well. So I was like, okay, Notion plus automation could be really interesting. We combined that. We co-founded and we've been running that agency for about a year. And it's been great. There's been ups and downs. There's been quite a lot of stagnation, but we're really seeing growth in the past few months. So it's so exciting to see how that's developing as well. And yeah, through the agency, but also through a summer job collecting trash last year, I was able to fund a month of living and working in Bali, which was an amazing time. It was a lot of fun. So I did that in February of this year. Um, and right around then, we also founded a startup, Whom, creating an offline AI agent or AI tutor, sorry, for kids in India. So this business life or like this business mindset was always around me, especially this year. We went from founding Whom to founding Get Shit Done, which was supposed to be a community. So we launched a newsletter together with my friend Gopi, who I created the microgreens business with a couple of years back. We wanted to create a community for young entrepreneurs. So we started this newsletter this summer, and then we were running Whom and Get Shit Done and Fluence, my agency, all at the same time, while studying, while trying to post content. And I think the biggest learning of this autumn, like closing up the story now, was kind of to focus. You need focus, because if you're not focused on one thing, someone who is focused on one thing in the same niche will outperform you every time. Or in other words, if someone is completely focused on creating content and they're creating content every single day, and you're creating content but also studying but also doing this and also have a full-time job, you're not going to reach their level of content creation, because they just have more time in their day than you do. So yeah, that's what I learned this autumn, that I cannot be doing all those things at the same time. So I cut it down. Now I'm just all in on Fluence on my agency, and we're going to scale it now. And I'm so excited to see what's coming in the future. And I have a current goal as well, which is 10,000 euros of monthly income by June 30th, 2026. So I will be checking out this video on that day to find out if I made it or not, I guess, or yeah, just look back on the journey, because yeah, that's where I came from, founding businesses left, right, and center, but not having the focus. And now it's been full focus, full scaling, and I know where I want to be. And I know as soon as I'm done with my bachelor's in June, I'm going to be traveling the world. I'm going to be meeting amazing people. I'm going to be living that dream life that I've always wanted to live. So if you made it until now, that's crazy. I don't think anyone will still be with me at this point of the video. But if you are, I really appreciate you listening to my little yap session. And yeah, much love wherever you are, whoever you are. Hope you're having an amazing day. And I'll see you in the next one.